call the meeting to order of the November 7th, 2022 Select Board. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up is the acceptance and correction of minutes. First would be the 10/18/22 public minutes, which was a joint meeting with the Budget Committee.
I'll make a motion, we do the 10/18/22 public minutes, joint meetings with Budget Committee with corrections if need be.
Second.
A motion by Mark, seconded by Collis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining would be 1. I wasn't there. Next up is the 10/24/22 public and non-public minutes.
I'll make a motion we approve the 10/24/22 public and non-public minutes with corrections if needed.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Jim. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes. And then the 10/25/22 public minutes, which is again a joint meeting with the Budget Committee.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Collis, seconded by Mark. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes. We have a couple of announcements. The state general election voting will be held Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 at the Goffstown High School, 27 Wallace Road for residents in District 1, and at Bartlett Elementary School, 689 Mass Road for residents in District 5. The polls will be open between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. for voting. The sample ballot is available by clicking the Elections Info button on the town's website at www.goffstown.com. Sample ballots also are posted at Town Hall. Here's another announcement for Tuesday, tomorrow. Tomorrow is November 8th. The town clerk's office will be closed all day. The town clerk and staff will be at election polls for the New Hampshire general election. On election day, a qualified delivery agent may deliver an absentee ballot to the clerk at the voting polls location by 5 p.m. And that's according to RSA 657:17 and 657:22. The town clerk's office will be open late on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and remain open till 4. Derek?
Tab 4, you have your committee meeting schedule. Again, tomorrow, general election. We can, I guess,
We just talk about it now.
yeah, who's going to be, I've got Kelly and Pete, you'll be at the high school.
Right.
And then Jim and Mark, you'll be over at Bartlett.
Yep.
And I guess if you need to switch, you'll communicate.
I'll have
with
to
each
go
other.
over to Bartlett to vote.
To vote, yep. And Collis is going to be there in the morning and help spell lunches as well.
Just do what you can, Collis, don't
Yeah,
overdo it.
no, it's okay. If anybody wants a break, give me a call.
Good.
So I'm going to Bartlett with first
With-
6,
yeah.
okay, right,
Yep.
I only gotta run home for half an hour, 45 minutes.
okay.
Take care of the kids.
Wednesday, no meetings. Thursday at 6 p.m., Budget Committee will meet over at the Media Center at the high school. And then at 7 p.m., the Planning Board is having a workshop here in room 106.
Yep, I have that.
And then just a reminder, Friday is Veterans Day. Town Hall will be closed, the Goffstown Public Library will be closed, and the DPW transfer station will be closed. But trash and recycling remain on schedule.
Hey, can I just make one
Go
more,
ahead.
please? On Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we are having Diane's award presentation for her Library Director of the Year at the library.
It's at the library.
Yes.
Your next page, you have your consent agenda. You have employee status report, accountant, assistant finance director, new hire, DPW truck driver, a successful completion of probationary period and step increase. You have the PEG TV education tech, successful completion of probationary period and step increase. You have firefighter to firefighter AEMT merit increase. And you have 3 full-time firefighters resignation. You have rights to inter, West Lawn Cemetery, section 1994, lot 192. and West Lawn Expansion Cemetery, Section S3, Lot 205. You have an event permit for a Goffstown Main Street program, Friday Night Under the Lights, on Friday, December 2nd, from 4 to 9 p.m. You have a warrant for Lynchville Danis Park Drinking Water Betterment Assessment. This is the second installment in the amount of $19,895.58. And then you have a waiver of municipal liability for Class 6 highway on McFarland Road, map 24, lot 72.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
At your next page, you have a town assessor recommendation for a land use change tax and a land use change tax warrant for map 4, lot 31B.
Motion to approve the assessor's recommendation as presented.
Second.
Motion by Collins, seconded by Kelly. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.
Your next page, there's been a change by the IRS in the amount that an employee can put into their health FSA for the year 2023. Currently, the dollar limitation for health FSAs is $2,850. That's been increased to $3,050. There's also an increase to the maximum carryover. That increase is automatic and no option is required. However, the board does need to make a decision on whether or not you want to offer the additional $200 in the carryover amount.
Kelly?
Does our system for facilitating benefits have the option to do that pretty easily?
Yes, it does.
Then yeah, I would be in favor of that. I'll make a motion to increase the dollar limitation for health FSA from $2,850 to $3,050 for 2023.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Do we need another motion for the carryover?
No, the carryover is automatic.
Okay.
And a couple of pages, if you skip through the health trust items, there is a revised charter for the Village Bridge Ad Hoc Committee. So far, we have all of the members named except for one, and the recommendation is that you approve an amendment that would reduce the number of members of community at large from 3 down to 2, and add a representative from the Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail. The Friends of the Goffstown Rail Trail asked to be excluded from the last ad hoc committee, but based on that final report, I did talk to David, and they said they would be willing to act as have a representative on this ad hoc committee. And I also talked to Selectman Adams as well as Andy Catarat, who chaired the last ad hoc, and they thought it was a good idea to add the Friends of Goffstown Rail Trail into the mix.
I'll make a motion to modify the charter so as to change the membership on the ad hoc committee.
I'll second.
Okay, does that, okay, that, when that bridge is finished, if it does get built, whose bridge is it?
The towns.
And who maintains it?
It would be the towns.
So as it, that, whereas part of the rail trail to become a Parks and Rec item?
I think the board would need to decide that as you approach that. I think that'd be a discussion with DPW, Parks and Rec, and the board.
I'm just wondering if somebody from the Parks and Rec board should have been on there.
They have there is a member from the Parks and
There is?
Recreation Commission.
Okay, from the,
There is, yep.
Can we maybe add that on the matrix, because we have the bridge, that at some point we'll have to
Yeah.
have that meeting?
we can do that, yeah, just write it on there, and then when we get to that, we can make the adjustments. Okay, there's a motion on the floor, it was made by Collis, seconded by, well, you, Kelly, right? Any further discussion or questions?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion passes. It is now 6:10. At 6:10 every evening, we have a section for public comment. Is there anybody here in the audience that's here for public comment? Hello. Sit down and state your name.
Samantha Holman, Chairperson, Goffstown Public Library Board of Trustees.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to give a quick reminder that the Board of Trustees and the Goffstown Public Library Foundation will host this year's Once Upon a Pie event on Saturday, November 19th at 6:30 p.m. at Stark Hall. If you'd like to come and have some pie and be entertained by our special guest auctioneers and MCs, the event's at 6:30. Pie is $2 a slice, excuse me. If you'd like to participate in the competition, the instructions and the rules can be found on the Goffstown Public Library website. This is usually an event that our Friends group hosts. This year, the trustees and the foundation are hosting it. And so, in the spirit of taking over the event and doing something new, we've come up with a new category that we are calling the Chairperson's Challenge. In that, the chair of any municipal board or organization can challenge a fellow chair to a pie bake-off, so to speak, and the category will be judged by our panel of judges. So, Mr. Chairman, you have been challenged. The instructions are inside the pot holder, or the gauntlet, so to speak, and I'm going to give it to Derek to pass over to you.
Great.
Feel free to challenge any other chairs.
You gotta fight, you don't wanna say challenge Gail or something.
I'm sorry, 6:30 on what date?
November 19th.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. No, thank you.
Wait, do you accept the challenge?
Of
Yeah.
course. Oh, somebody's gonna challenge me,
I
or
just
I'm
want
gonna
it on
challenge
the, I
them.
just want it in the minutes, that's all that's what I want.
Memorialized. You have to make it yourself?
Of course I'm gonna bake it myself, Jim. What do you think?
I love a Hannaford
I
sticker
can
on
turn,
it.
yeah, I can turn the oven on and off. That's no problem. Okay, Derek, where are we here now?
Just select board discussion on if there's any new business, and then I put on old business how you'd like to tackle the budget.
Okay. Do we have any new business? Okay. Seeing none, let's go to old business. First, I'd like to bring up, Fire Chief, come up. I would like to discuss our letter to Manchester and how we ended up.
Good evening.
For the folks out there, is we sent a letter to Manchester stating that due to the reduced size of our department, because they had been taking some of our people, that we wouldn't be able to do calls for them, mutual aid calls. And we prompted a letter and we sent it to the mayor, board of aldermen, and to their fire chief, and they have their fire chief has responded to our fire chief, so go right ahead.
I did have a phone conversation with the chief for quite a while, talking about mutual aid relationships, how while it's statewide, you know, there's a shortage of firefighters and everyone, and big and small departments are looking for firefighters. And we had a very productive conversation in that they're more cognizant of the impact it has when you take 3 firefighters at once than you would 1 firefighter at once. So we came to an agreement that they're definitely going to try and avoid that in the future, and that we would continue to provide each other with mutual aid.
Jim's got a question.
No, I'm just, it's setting in.
Let it set in.
It's digesting in.
It did, the letter though, did bring that subject to light, and there are other the Fire Chiefs Association are aware of it. The state fire marshal, who's the senior firefighter in the state, was aware of it, and I spoke to him in length too. And they're going to try and continue to address this issue. There is a recruitment and retainment coordinator that the state of New Hampshire hired. There was a commission, and so there's a full-time person that's supposed to help with that too. But it is very, very prevalent statewide and even nationwide. The fire service is just not as much of an interest to people as it used to be, so it's very competitive out there.
Peter, where can we see a copy of that letter from them?
Sure,
Where, is it,
yep.
okay?
Well, they didn't
It's
send
actually,
me-
didn't
it's
get a
actually a
letter.
report.
What?
It's actually a report,
Okay,
yep.
as long as it's available.
Is that I think I quoted it.
Yes.
We quoted it at the end of the letter. I can provide
That'd be
a
great.
copy of the final letter that went over to the city of Manchester as well as that
That
report.
would be great, thank you.
Yep.
I think you should have a copy of that letter, because it went out to everybody, didn't
Yeah,
it?
I think it was, you might have got it electronically, but I know the
Yeah.
chief had referenced that report, so we'll print out a copy and get that to you so you
Thank you.
can look at that.
So, we did do a few calls over the weekend.
Yes. Both Manchester, Bedford,
New Boston, I thought.
New Boston.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in writing from Manchester to us in
Yeah.
return?
no,
It's just,
That's a question, yeah.
right.
and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, they've changed their mutual aid response a little bit now. They're actually physically sending an engine prior to the mutual aid, correct? So-
Yes, so what was happening previously, the minute they got an EMS call, no matter how serious or not it was, they were looking for an ambulance, you know, so if all theirs were busy, they were calling us. They have since changed that. A fire engine with paramedics and EMTs that they have goes to the scene and decides whether they need an ambulance to transport. So in some senses, that has helped a lot, you know, because we're not just running, getting there and finding out they don't need us there.
How do we get compensated for that?
If we go and we transport someone in another town or city, we charge them.
That person? Or
Yeah,
the-
just like we would, you know, anyone else.
Jim?
and if there's a call, we go anywhere in Manchester or like even if it's on the border with Hooksett or something like that?
We'll go anywhere in Manchester.
Okay.
However, locally here though, I won't go below 3 people on duty. So if they call in and say our crew's out on another call, on an ambulance call or at the hospital, then we don't provide them mutual aid.
I know the other night, we were in town, Bedford was in town, they had multiple EMS calls back to back, so Manchester had to rely on a mutual aid. They called us for one, and then, what was it, 5 or 10 minutes after, Bedford came in and handled the call, so.
And I guess while I'm here, I'll tell the board too that New Boston's having an issue getting their EMTs out. They have a shortage. I've got a meeting tomorrow with all the surrounding communities, and we're gonna come up with a strategy so that they're not calling, you know, us or Bedford continually. We're gonna try and spread that out around the area too. But at no time will, you know, will our coverage be, you know,
Be zero?
be any less than, yes, absolutely.
Well, I think it's a serious problem,
Most certainly.
you know? I mean, it concerns me or bothers me that Manchester contracts out their ambulance service. So we're actually saving Manchester money when we do it because they don't have to hire more ambulances to cover their city. So we're kind of taking that burden if they contract the AMR. So if they're getting that many calls, you know, they should tell AMR, we need 5 ambulances instead of 4 or whatever the number is.
Hopefully it'll get better, Pete. They, last week or the week before, AMR put a post out and they put a letter out that they have 30 people that have signed up for an EMT class. So hopefully when that EMT class is done, the majority of those 30 people will go work for AMR, and hopefully take some of the stress off of Manchester.
Let's hope so. All right. Derek, back to the old business. Have we gotten anywhere? Thank you, Chief. We got anywhere with number 1?
Yeah, I had a productive conversation with the county administrator a few weeks ago and have worked with the chief on it, so don't have any news to share, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
Okay, great. Kelly?
No movement as of late. Danielle and I have both been slammed, so, no, it's kind of just hanging. But we'll get back to it when we can.
Okay, and go ahead on the next one, or we're gonna change the,
Oh, sure, yeah, I just would like to add, on the village pedestrian bridge, Derek, if you could make a note to add, a bullet point that we'll have a meeting with the board, DPW, and Parks and Rec on,
Who's maintaining?
yeah, just to at least,
Rick, you weren't
some
here,
point.
but we talked about the ad hoc committee for the bridge, and I had a question about if we do get it done, who's gonna maintain it, who's gonna be responsible? And I think, yeah, that's, kind of thought it was gonna be Parks and Rec, but
Got it.
bridge maintenance now, buddy.
We got it, yeah. We're engineers, we're builders, we're contractors. We haven't done anything with sewer yet, but, well, wait a minute, we do porta potties.
There you go, you got it covered.
Kudos to you guys. I went and looked at the boat ramp. Very good job. Very, very good job.
Kudos to the contractor.
You
And
guys-
Rick got me the final numbers, so I'll have that for you at your next meeting.
Excellent. And then we come down to, we don't have, not working on anything for grants?
Not at the moment, we've got, I know the police chief has a grant application in for the body worn cameras. And then there's some other grant opportunities, but no other ones that the board has authorized us to move ahead with.
Okay. And out of service, we're still talking about, we got one ambulance with a water pump. The Freightliner 10-wheeler, that's at, it's got an EGR replacement, and then the septic truck is still, that's just a couple weeks now it's been at spring replacement, right?
That one's a solid waste trailer.
Oh,
And Spec Tech is the brand.
Oh, yeah, it's 11.4, okay. Anything else, anybody? Okay, budget. You all have your budget books, no?
Yep.
Well, we gotta come up with a plan on where we wanna be. And come up with a target number to shoot for, whether it's a percentage or how we wanna do it. Right now, what is our general increase, percentage increase?
Give me a second and I will find that.
It's in the open spot, wasn't it?
I think if you look on, behind tab 1, on the admin overview, I actually noted what the difference was. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Basically, the increase and loss of revenue amounted to, if no changes were made at this time, no, it was a little bit more than $1.1 million. It's on page 4 of 4 of the department head, the budget overview and department head level. It was $1,984,892 increase. That would so that's a difference of net decrease in general fund revenues as well as any new expenses.
Is that including warrant articles?
That's including warrant articles. It does not include the library bond article, because again, the bond article wouldn't have necessarily a cost in 2023. You would receive the proceeds. So you don't have the proceeds or the future year cost for that one at this time. But it does include the $250,000 for the fire apparatus capital reserve fund.
And what does that equate to?
Oh, probably about $1.20, but it's you gotta be careful about tax rate because next year's going to be a revaluation year, so the tax rate's going to drop down.
The rate's gonna drop down, but the values are gonna go up.
The value's
Potentially.
going to go up, yes. Yeah. So hold on. If we look at what we have for our tax rate, so this year for our tax rate, we collected, on behalf of the town, we collected $16,200,604. So you collected 16 million, and where the budget is right now, again, no use of fund balance, no use of anything else, you're saying you would increase that by about 1.9 million. So it's a significant increase where it is right now.
So I guess our objective is, whether it's is to either we do it or give the department heads, come up with a number that we think we can live with. And then you have the department heads take a shot at it, because we could take a shot at it, and then they're gonna tell us, no, we'd rather do it this way. So,
I think we should ask them to sharpen their pencils a little first.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we need to come, what's that percentage of increase?
Let's see.
Danielle's, see who's faster, Danielle's fast.
I know. I mean, real rough right now. Again, this is the tax effort,
Right.
and there's a lot of things that go into that. But right now, it's at about 11.8%. But that's actually, that $1.9 million is a smaller number than where we were at the same time in the budget process last year.
Yep, but we can't keep going.
I understand, yep.
And any revenues expected from the state in the second half?
We can, I know we have to make an adjustment to, which one?
To reduce the New Hampshire retirement.
We have to reduce the New Hampshire retirement because I was wrong on which year to put that in. I put that in next year's, but we actually received it this year. And we could perhaps relook at we're very conservative in our meals and rooms. Yeah, we can look at the meals and rooms and see if we can get any additional information. So there might be a little bit more there, but there's really nothing else for revenues unless the board wanted to explore optional clerk fees or anything like that.
So I guess it's up to us to determine what we can think is a reasonable, I don't know if we could split it in half, but shave a few points off of it somehow. What are you thinking?
I think the hard thing is that
You're messing with my minute.
it's, I don't know, it's hard to say a specific percentage because we've seen such an increase in cost of items that really at this point we're telling the department heads which projects of theirs we can push off or wait on. You know, like
Yep.
it's, a lot of that increase is due to those sorts of things, which makes it difficult for us to pick a percentage or a number we're comfortable with without looking at the projects themselves or the increases themselves for non-cost related things.
So, would it be better for us to say, we can't accept these numbers, take it back and look at it, come back with something different to each department head, or?
Well, where else can we cut? I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? Or put off, or, you know, whatever.
Well, they know better than we do.
Right, so.
We can go line by line and say, okay, you know, we can cut this $5 here, $10 there, and I've been through that, you know.
But we don't have any other options if you want to lower things,
Right.
right? So, yeah.
Or you cut programs or projects, or,
Well, I think,
know.
I think we ought to take a look at that stuff.
I'd be in favor of letting the department heads sharpen the pencil, look at the budget, look at what they feel will work best, rather than us going at the budget and making things worse. I think they should be the ones to come forth with us to see what they can develop.
I mean, I think though, right, like we've asked them for their budget of things that they need, and I think that they deserve a lot of credit for the lot that they do with a little, so.
No, certainly.
I think that I would also want to know that if we pushed off a project, or getting rid of a program is one thing, but pushing off a project, is that gonna have to go into the budget next year? Because I feel like sometimes we push stuff and then we end up having to pay
Oh, yeah.
for it
You
in the long run.
kick
We've
the
been-
can down the road.
Yeah,
I
we've
mean,
been down
that's-
that road many a time.
that's just,
But I think it's also fair to say to them, hey, listen, we're in tough times here, we need you to take a second look at this. Sharpen your pencils a little, see what you can do, if anything.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but we just need to
Yeah.
weigh
Because
out
I
what
haven't
that
seen the
means.
latest inflation rates. What is inflation rate, 7 or 8% now?
It's
I
all-
think it's nine point something.
And we're talking 12%, so I mean, just as a real coarse filter.
a lot of it is
It's-
that stuff. When you look at the numbers.
No,
talk-
I
You're
get
right.
that, but
Yeah.
people sit back, they say, wait a minute. Inflation is running 90%, why are you coming in with a 12% increase? Just-
Well, and I think,
A lot of people look at it that simplistically, I
Yeah, yeah.
guess is what I'm saying.
I probably should have been a little more careful when I said it's a 12% increase. It's a 12% increase in the taxes that were raised because you used $1.6 million of fund balance last year to reduce that collection effort. So it's actually, it inflates how big it is. It really isn't that big when you consider that more than 10% of your budget last year was funded through fund balance, whether it was articles or whether it was use at tax rate setting.
So that whole explanation needs to be part of the picture that we put out there, because
how do you, how do we have for special articles besides the library? Do we
You have the capital reserve fund deposit for the fire apparatus, and then any other special articles will be up to the board. At your meeting on the 14th, Diane McCarthy from Crispin House will present to you. Main Street program is not making a request for an article this year.
Derek, is there, I can't remember, is there an article, I think there is, for Grassmere Town Hall?
There is not.
We've
So right now, there
We
were
just talked about
there were
how much
three
was in that.
successive,
That's
and there
what we
was,
did.
yes, there's
Yep.
$375,000 in that capital reserve fund. So the HCC is currently looking at grant opportunities.
I mean, I think it's good to ask the department heads, but also, I've been inundated with doing the line by line for the school, so I personally would like some time to look through the increases from the department head presentations with more questions on what I have for them specifically.
Well, I've got questions already, but we
Yeah.
can, I guess,
I just need a little time to do that.
now, you just mentioned, the only reason I asked you, I mentioned when I asked about grants. In the police department, they've got new body cam and tasers, but there's a possible grant there.
Yes,
So is the purchase of that based on us receiving the grant?
it is not, because you cannot apply for that grant and supplant locally budgeted funds. So if the chief is successful in getting that grant, and chief can correct me, it will accelerate the process, how quick they buy the replacements. If they are unsuccessful, then it'll be a multi-year program where they're replacing, X number of body cams every year. And then the tasers, which is a completely different program.
There's no grant available for that.
No.
Okay. Well, let's have the department heads take another shot at it. Knowing that we want to maybe hit at least a couple of points down. That's, I know it's gonna be tough, but I think that's what we have to do. Everybody's under contract, we don't have any contracts next year, right?
You have no CBAs
Yes, no
that are being
CBAs.
On the ballot.
on the ballot. You will in 2023, going into 2024, you'll have 3. But yes, there'll be none on the ballot this year.
Okay. Well, what are you thinking?
I was in favor of sending it back to the department heads, let them review it and come back to us, and when we have the meeting on what, the 14th? We
Yeah,
can,
I agree, I think that's gotta be the first step, the next
Yeah.
step.
yeah.
Say,
I
hey,
mean, it could be dangerous if we cut something that
Yeah.
we think they don't need and they need it. So I would rather have them do it, come back to see us, and then we'll go from there and see what happens.
You?
That's fine, yeah. I mean, I have a lot of stuff I wanna personally look at to have that.
Well, I got questions too, and I
So-
don't know if we should just reach out to the department head individually and say it, because we might be answering the same question 5 times, you know, so, but I would just as soon do that, just, like I say, I got questions.
Yeah, I've got questions on individual lines as well, Peter, but if we give them a chance to, like I say, take
Might
a look
eliminate
at
your
it, they might
question.
eliminate some of those lines.
Okay,
It would
that's
just
fine.
be-
So that's what we'll do then,
Understood. So we'll do that next week.
that's the 14th.
So we're gonna have them all here next week?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so do it all in one night. Okay.
May I ask a question?
I'll recognize you, go ahead.
With all due respect, having us go and find some numbers, lower numbers, I get it, that's great. But if you already have questions, maybe those questions will bring forth to us what we need to look at. I'm not,
No, I understand what you're saying, Rick, and it makes sense what you're saying, go ahead.
I have an idea. So what if we just send what we have to Derek and he can send it back to all of us? Does that work? Our questions that we have?
Well, then he'll just have to send them out to everybody else, I mean.
Yeah.
I just say, I think, Rick, you guys know where you may have a nickel to cut.
yes.
I can ask you a question and say, you know, how about this, can you cut that? Yeah, I can't do that. But I could probably do it over here. So I think that eliminates that.
I understand what you're saying. What I was trying to just do is, sometimes sitting here like this, it's like, what the heck did we just come here for?
I understand.
I'm just being honest, that's all, you know?
Well, I think you can't answer that, Rick, because you came here to hear what you just heard, that we have concerns.
Okay,
And we're gonna say, hey, come, take another hard look at this, because we're in trouble here, and we're asking you to look a little closer.
thank you.
And if I can for just a moment, if you look on page 1 of that department head overview, your general fund appropriation went up by $37,000 when you include special articles.
Okay, so let's take something,
So that's, that's 37,000. The difference is what we have for predicted revenues, and Danielle and I will look at the meals and rooms, and then the use of fund balance. That's,
But we really need to see what this year's fund balance looks like fully, when all that stuff is worked out.
here's a question
And
I
we're
was gonna
guessing
have
on
tonight,
next
just to
year's.
give you an idea. Okay, the police operations, right? Well, Eric put together, or he has operations continued, he shows decreases in there of $15,172. But on the front side, there was like a 5% increase on that line. Does that include, operations is a 5.3% increase? So that's technically up $20,000 in police operations. I'm not gonna get into it now, I just something that I would ask that question. Maybe we don't have to take it all up, but if you wanna come up,
I'll wait until you have it. I'm trying to follow what you're saying, Mr. Chairman.
well, on your overview, you had a operations budget, right, from 2022, and it went up. And it went up, it has a 5.3% increase. But you also had a decrease in some of the expenditures from 22, which totaled $15,172. So how does that equate in there? So did you really have a larger increase than 5.3%? You understand my question?
Yeah,
I think the total number of the operating budget went up. there are some lines that are higher, there's some lines that decrease. So I'll come up with it. But I think if I were to break down the entire budget, the entire
Now, I'm
budget.
looking at operations budget from 22.
Right, so
at a
I'm saying it's a
5.3% increase.
5.7% increase, but there
Okay.
are some things that went down that we're talking about.
That about $15,000.
But there's other things that went up, so part of operations is, you see some of your body cam, that was a big increase, some of your fleet for tires, that's an increase, right?
Well, you've always bought tires, why would that be that $10,000 increase?
Because we need to buy all new set of tires for these cruisers that we just received.
All different sizes?
They are getting to the point where they're all the same now, because remember, the 20s are different than the 19s and 18s. So as we're moving forward, we need to increase and buy new tires. Our problem is that we went with, we used to have winters and summers that we would rotate. Well, highways now saying that we probably shouldn't be doing that over and over because it's costing time for them to mount them, balance them. So we're looking at buying one set of all-season tires that our colleagues around us have been raving about. So that's just us now starting to buy more tires for these cruisers that are all the bigger set for the 20s, the 21s, and 22s.
Okay, well, you and I will talk about that later.
Okay.
I don't really understand what you're saying. Mark, would you have a question?
Nope, nope.
So, anyway,
Fine.
let's move on, say, take another look and come back, and Eric will hook up with you and we can talk about this, okay?
Sure.
Anything else? You have anything on the non-public?
Nope, we're done with public.
Anybody here?
Nope.
Okay, motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, motion passes.